Welcome to Unscripted Gaming. We have a long one today. Uh, th- my name is Ray,
Not too long.
and
I have to go take care of a baby. My name
that
is
too.
Mike.
No. Long one, as in it's gonna be like a long, boring topic. Like,
Well, we got a heavy one. It's heavy.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's more
It's
appropriate. Thank
heavy.
you.
Let's say that. How about that?
Before we get into the very obvious thing that's taking place in July of 2021, to go ahead and date this podcast, Mike, what kind of games you been playing?
Yeah, this makes sense. We should get some of the fun stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. So, main thing I have been playing is, it's this cool indie game. It's called Destiny 2. I have
Stop
been
it.
playing it on my PlayStation 5 on a new TV I got, and it is of enhanced qualities. And that you don't really know, like, it sucks when the 4K HDR stuff kind of lives up to the hype. It sucks, but also, like, it looks really good. Because you go into the Destiny inventory screen, which is something I'm very familiar with how it looks. And you're like, wow, look at these colors pop. Like, this just looks really good.
I gotta ask you the question of why does it suck that the hype was correct?
I don't know. I just feel owned.
Okay, well,
I don't like being owned.
don't you have a PS5? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
back the F up. Okay, stop.
Oh, yeah, I have PS5, by the way. It's called Twitter notifications, people. It's called Twitter notifications and a little bit of luck.
I'm gonna lean more towards the luck, but yeah,
Well, yeah, I did get my Vex Mythic last on like my 7th run, so
Jesus.
which is pretty lucky compared to
Yeah.
considering I'm seeing people on the front page of Reddit being like, I've run Vault 40 times and I haven't gotten Mythic class yet, and I'm like, that sucks for you. Sorry.
I do want to say, and I know the weapon running has been around since the dawn of MMOs, but 40 times for one gun. It's a good gun, but it's not 2014 Mythical class. If it was
No,
2014
it's
Mythical class, I get it.
No.
I would 100% get it.
It's in all honesty, it's kind of bad right now.
Oh, okay.
It's not that good.
That
but
makes it
it's
even
cool,
worse.
But it's not that good. I don't know if I actually mentioned this or reviewed last time we talked, because we mainly did our Resident Evil 8 spoiler cast. Yeah, Vault is back in Destiny 2. It's the Vault you remember. They changed up a couple. They honestly tweaked a couple of things just to make it harder, which feels like, in a lot of ways, it's still really fun. The loot is pretty good. The environments are still really fun and pretty. Encounter's still fun, but you can also very much tell it's the first one they made, just because with what the general rating population of Destiny can handle, and what Vault was. Like, Vault is very simple in a lot of ways compared to other raids in Destiny, so they tweaked up a couple of things just to give it a little bit of spice, so it wasn't a total snooze like cakewalk. But yeah, it's fun. I guess something else I have been playing. I played through Miles Morales, the Spider-Man expansion.
Oh, you finished it?
I did, yes.
They're not long. The first one wasn't terribly long. It took me like 20 hours. How long did this one take you?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. I think it is a shorter campaign.
Okay. It's like $40 or so, isn't it? They didn't
Yeah,
charge
it's
the full
not.
top.
It's not a full length campaign, which is
Okay.
something. Yeah, if you liked the original one, you should play this one.
Okay.
It's fun. I think this is gonna sound annoying, but I like the story, but some of the writing is just, I hate it sometimes. I don't like it. It's like, because he'll say, Peter Parker will be like, say something super corny, and then he'll be like, oh, that was kind of corny, huh? And I'm just like, you can't say something corny and then be like, oh, that was corny, and then like expect me to be like, haha, I get it.
Are you not sold on their natural back and forth?
No, it's just, I don't know. He's too, like, there's too much camera winking, and it's you can't play that stuff for a joke when you do that all the time. And I'm just like, I get it. Just shut up. Please, God. I also had to turn off, if you play through it someday, you'll figure it out. I had to turn off the podcast because I'm like, I can't. There's like never mind.
What, the J. Jonah Jameson podcast? I love those last
There's a
game.
new one, and she's like, basically like a pair. It just feels like she's like, they lean into it so hard. It's like she's almost like a parody of like the Tumblr social justice person.
Oh no!
But it's like not supposed to be funny, but it's just like, it's so grating. But it's like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not gonna do this right now. No, thank you.
See, the J. Jonah Jameson ones are great because he's a awful Alex Jones parody, and that's the joke. Like, you're not supposed to take him seriously. Like, if they tried to lean in and try to make it serious, that sounds like it would be obnoxious.
Hot take. I don't like the pivot to J. Jonah Jameson as Alex Jones. I don't like it. I like keeping him as like a New York Post-esque sleazebag. And those are two very different things.
Okay, I see. Okay, I see what you mean. The line is very fine between.
Look, like, hold on. Let me just. I don't know why. I didn't think I would be in this podcast where we're going to be talking about what we're talking about in like 10 minutes from now. I didn't think I would be looking up New York Post best headlines, but look, there's just like, I just, in my head, I want J. Jonah Jameson to write for, it's just like when there's a story about Anthony Weiner in the Daily Bugle, you want it to have the headline "Stroking Gun," which is very funny. And it's that's just something that is an element of J. Jonah Jameson's character that I think is lost with his like, oh, he's a conspiracy guy now, and it's like,
he was always kind of a conspiracy guy.
That's just my take. No, there's a difference between like New York Post, neighborhood like newspaper man versus like internet radio show guy. There's different things happening there.
Yeah, I feel you, and I think like,
he's a menace.
I'm not trying to hyper defend the writers, but I really liked it because it's like, what if you took away the editorial power of J. Jonah Jameson and you put a microphone in front of his face for 8 hours a day? What would eventually happen? And it's like, oh, he would obviously turn into an Alex Jones or like Tucker Carlson type. It's like, yeah, that tracks. That makes sense to me. This is funny. This is great. But I respect what you're saying, where it's like it degrades his character maybe a little too harsh. Because at the end of the day, unlike the last two people I just listed, J. Jonah Jameson does mean well. He actually thinks Spider-Man is a menace, and depending on what type of superheroes you like, maybe superheroes would actually be the worst thing to happen to humanity. I don't know. I finished The Boys Season 2, and I'm kind of sold on that.
It's okay, if there's one thing we can learn from The Boys is that when bad things are happening, the CIA will protect you.
Oh man, if there's anything I learned from The Boys that I've learned from like 10 plus years ago, is that Batman is right and a Superman would actually be the worst thing for the planet. Like just an unrestrained Superman would be awful, and you people don't know what you're asking for.
Yeah, no.
Moving on.
Ray, do you have any games you'd like to mention before we actually move on?
I went to eBay, and we're not recording the video because Josh is not here. He had some things to do, and I bought a Nintendo DS Lite. Specifically so I can replay my cart of Final Fantasy 1.
Oh man.
And I played through and beat that again. I started off with the party of a fighter, a monk, a red mage, and a black mage. And that was my second time playing through Final Fantasy 1, and that was possibly the worst party I have ever created. I'm not sold on the monk, people. For everyone that's a Final Fantasy lover out there and likes the monk, nah, not sold. Don't care. Don't care for him at all.
Yeah, harsh words. Harsh.
I turned that off, and I mean, no, I beat it. I actually went through Chaos, and it took everything possible, but I actually did end up beating him, like, level 60 for all the characters. But then I was like, okay, that sucked. That could have done better, so I'm going to try that again. I immediately started a new file, erased that one, I, like, wiped that away, like, let's just pretend that didn't exist. Replayed through the entire game again. It's relatively short. It takes, like, 15... 16 hours to play through the game. As two warriors, a red mage and a white mage, and that was the most fun Final Fantasy 1 run I think I've ever done. I actually highly recommend that party. The two warriors are just they're tanking and delivering damage. The red mage is just doing what it does, and it's just being dapper and throwing black magic whenever you can. And the white mage, heal, 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 and oh yeah, there's a bunch of enemies that are undead. Holy, and nukes them all. Okay, so there's that kick. I've actually been on a Final Fantasy kick lately.
Did I ever tell you about the? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did I ever tell you about the Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance cartridge I have in my car?
I do have a copy of the original Fire Emblem for Game Boy Advance, and I don't like that game. But what's going on with the one in your car?
You know, I don't know. Honestly, I've had the car I've had since, 2013, 2014. And I don't remember when it got there, but I have in like the little, not like the glove compartment, but like the little part where you put all like your coins that aren't quarters, and then you get pissed off when you're trying to find a quarter to go to Aldi. And it's not in there. Because you take them all out all the time and leave them somewhere else. There's a Game Boy Advance cartridge Fire Emblem in there, and my car has been broken into multiple times and over the years. I think, no one's like bashed a window or anything, but I think people just like check doors, and I've left it unlocked or something. And they've taken things from me. But every time, the first thing it doesn't happen often. I want to be clear. It's not that bad. Everything's fine. But the first thing I always check is like, did they take the Fire Emblem cartridge? And they never do. It's great. They also never touch any of my CDs. Also great. I'd be so sad if I lost some CDs I have in there. I swear to God, I have good music taste. Don't try to own me for this. Hey, I have good.
I wasn't gonna own you. That actually brought up a.
Okay.
I thought about like, man, this is the perfect. He just softballed that one to me. But then I thought, you know what? No, I'm actually gonna commiserate with you for a second. I lost my entire CD collection because when I was literally on the plane to go to Kuwait to be deployed to Iraq, I accidentally, like a boob, because it was a 22-hour flight, left my entire CD case in that spot where you put this your stuff in the plane.
No.
I was like so fucking tired. I'm like, oh my God, are we actually in country? Let's just go do this. And I just got up all my bags and stuff. Because, for 20 hours in these cramped spaces, this becomes your like little tiny living space for a little while. And I just didn't care. I just wanted to get off the plane. And yeah, when I was so distraught and I was so distracted by the whole like going to Iraq thing that by the time I got home, like I'm actually back in Ohio, I'm thinking like, man, I want to listen to that Interpol CD I got. Where'd it go? I was like, oh.
You're like, oh, it's been gone.
Oh, fuck. That's super gone now.
That's super gone.
Oh, no. Anyways.
But yeah, so I have had this Game Boy Advance, this Fire Emblem cartridge in my car for a long time. And I don't think I ever really plan on taking it out. It's not like a good luck charm or anything, but it's not a bad luck charm. I don't really know. I just kind of like it. I don't know. I just like it.
No,
I like the constant in my life of just like, hey, look, there's the Fire Emblem thing. All right, cool. I like that game. I like the sprites in that game.
I gotta. Oh, the sprite work is excellent. I do have to ask the question that I already know the answer to. Did you beat it?
Yes.
You wait, what? Back the fuck up. You beat Fire Emblem on Game Boy
Yeah,
Advance?
you just use the wizard guy at the
Huh.
end. What's his name? Let me remember. Well, what's his name? Is it Athos?
I gave up on that game. The permadeath made
Fi-
me not want to play that game.
Is it? Yeah, it's Athos. Just use that guy, and then
just
restart every
use
level
it.
if you lose anybody.
I mean, I did that, but there was a point where I'm like, man, this fucking sucks. I'm sick and tired of restarting every time I like lose a guy.
I remember doing like the loyalty missions to get Jafar is like, oh, it's so annoying. But Jafar is so cool.
This is why Fire Emblem Awakening is the best one, because it introduced casual mode, so we don't have to worry about permadeath.
Man,
Permadeath
Awakening is just like, I want them to do a demake of Awakening. Like, give me the good pixel art, but don't change anything else. Because that's the thing I hate about new Fire Emblem. It's just like, I just don't like the art. Like, it's just not good anymore. The pixel art was so much better.
Okay, so for new Fire Emblem, like everything past Awakening, I don't like the excess padding. I just want to get into the game, and there's so much bullshit you got to get into before you can start like getting into the leveling and grinding and all that.
Yeah.
And I just need to get a move on, or I will play a different game. I do not have the
Yeah.
time. Anyway, speaking of which, by me saying I don't have the time, so I'm playing Final Fantasy X for the like fourth or third time in my entire life. And no other reason. There was just an HD remake, and I really loved that game. It's one of my favorite.
How's the Blitzball going?
So I thought for the first time in my life, the very first time you play Blitzball, that match is stacked against you to win. Like you're just probably gonna lose unless the game decides you can win. There are people online that's like, oh, it's easy. Those are nerds that have no other life, and they're obnoxiously good at Blitzball for some reason. I tried 4 times in a row, and I lost 4 times in a row, and I said, fuck this, and I moved on, and I'm happy.
That's good.
It.
That's healthy, adorable.
Yeah, thank you. So those are the games. If we want to go ahead and hop into the news of the day, so ladies and gentlemen, this is going to get into a very heavy topic in this podcast because we're going to talk about like workplace abuse in like in the video game industry. And I know, I bet that happens a lot. Well, yeah, but that's the problem. It happens a lot, and now it's like gotten to the point where it's like come to a huge head. General
content warning for harassment and discussion of things that are generally unpleasant. Because we need to talk about the situation in Activision and Blizzard that at this point, it's been a week, I think.
It's actually the investigation that started 2 years ago.
Yes, that's where because there's been a lot of things have happened, so we should.
So to backtrack,
we should backtrack here.
Yeah, in 2019, I do believe it was, the state of California Department of Labor, Home and Services, I think I got that right, started an investigation into Activision Blizzard due to hundreds of complaints of bad workplace culture, where there was lots of reports of harassment, abuse. There was, and this is where the content warning came from, someone had committed suicide on a work trip, directly linking Activision Blizzard as probably culpable or responsible for that. And also mistreatment of people of color, minority groups, what have you. And so the state of California completed their review, and they are formally suing Activision Blizzard. Ladies and gentlemen, for people that aren't lawyers, I'm not a lawyer. I only know friends that are paralegals. Which, in the grand scheme of things, is really nothing. But they inform me that once the state comes after you, or the feds come after you, you're kind of fucked. Because they have a very high record of winning in court. So, Activision Blizzard probably has a lot to answer for. Twitter has, what would you say, like, opened the floodgates of hate on them, is something I would say.
Like you said, it is the state of California. It is specifically the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing.
There we go. Thank you. Fair Employment and Housing. Yeah.
So according to the complaint, female employees make up around 20% of the Activision workforce and are subjected to a, quote, pervasive frat boy workplace culture. And I think that at the same time that kind of undersells it, that also perfectly describes the atmosphere here, of just and so this story comes out, and then in the subsequent days, it has just been a deluge of testimony, people looking into previous complaints with Activision. I saw a panel, I think, from BlizzCon in like 2010 kind of float around Twitter where a woman asked, hey, can we maybe do some work about maybe making these character designs less, exploitative and gross. And the all-male panel, including one of the people very explicitly named in this suit as someone like allegedly harassing quite a few people, they essentially laughed her off, and it's just.
I know exactly what video you're talking about. Yeah, that was BlizzCon 2010, and yeah, she asked like, "Hey, can all the females in your game not look like they just walk off the set of Victoria's Secret?" And someone said like, "Well, what modeling set do you want them to walk off?" And then someone else like. They went total bro culture on her. They're like, yeah, what about the Tauran females? What do you want them to look like? Like that. That was a woman. That was your player. That was a customer that actually asked what is even at that time of 2010 a legitimately good question, and she just like walked away dejected. It actually made me really sad watching that video because it's like
it's
wow,
heartbreaking.
Imagine you pay so much money, you take so much time, and you finally get up to the mic, right? And you get to talk to these people that make a game that you love. And it's a question that's like just been at the back of your craw. And you're like, maybe they could just address this. And the way they address it is with like backslapping, high-fiving, and telling you to get fucked, right? Like, I hope she unsubscribed, and I hope she never played like their games ever again. Like, at that moment. Fuck that. That sucks. And of course, the guy that said that went on Twitter. He's like, "Hey guys, I want to apologize. That was a shitty answer, but I've grown up as a person." And it's like, "No, dude, nah, not with this lawsuit floating around. Holy shit, we don't know that, right? We can't trust you." But as you were saying, there was more that kept coming out. There was, we're kind of jumping the gun, but why not? There was the Cosby Room, which is a recording studio where they had a picture of Bill Cosby and all of them just around it as if it's like a worshipping idol. I think...
Yeah, very ironic, and again, also not really something that was exactly like a secret nobody knew. Like, it was kind of an open secret about Mr. Cosby's conduct at that time.
Yeah, there are some people that say like, hey, this picture is from 2013. Cosby wasn't really accused of like sexual allegations until 2014. To that I say 50-50. Yeah, he wasn't he wasn't completely in the public sphere doghouse until 2014. But he's had allegations against him since like wow, it sucks to say this, but since before you and I were born, Mike, and at least since before my mother was born, this man's been out there probably doing some fucked up shit for a long time. But to have a picture of him and to name a whole room after him, it's a joke, but it's not that funny of a joke, that type of thing.
Yeah, so again, like, there has just been, as we mentioned, has been a deluge of further news and updates regarding the situation, and like, for example, oh my goodness, well, let's just, there was the employee walkout,
which was good. That was a good thing to do.
People going back into this had bubbled up a couple of years ago, but people rediscovered that Bobby Kotick was someone who was listed in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book. Who knows what that means? Who knows what that means? But
that
it
could
sure
mean,
is interesting.
That could mean a lot of things, or it could mean nothing. It's one of the two. One of the two extremes.
And it's again like Blizzard has like hired a legal firm to investigate these harassment claims and culture that also happens to be a union busting firm. That's some work for Amazon in that particular field. And I think all of this is, I mean, like, I guess the thing I want to, say and draw from this, other than, wishing love and courage and the best to everyone who was a victim of this, came out in support of this. Like, you guys are doing an incredible thing, and we're all very proud of you. I think this is I don't think anybody, it's not going to be a big surprise as to what I would say about a situation like this. I think, and I think Scott Benson, he's a game developer, put it best on Twitter a couple days ago. He said, the ability of a company to sexually abuse women who work there and keep what happened quiet and make sure the abuser is protected flows from the same power they have to crunch workers, do mass layoffs, and underpay developers. These aren't separate things. And I think that is one of the most salient takes I've seen from this entire situation, that this is that, sexual harassment and a culture that is unprofessional and unsafe for women, and and people and of all genders, certainly, that is like there's a play. Just the fact that those things are very very much intertwined. That like a culture that is going like.
What was it like? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, like a workplace culture where you are working 18 hours, and then the only time you have to do any sort of professional networking at your company is in a hotel full of, cheap vodka and a booze at like some convention, and with just a bunch of guys, including multiple people who are employed by who are in HR in this room, participating in all of this. Like, it's just, it all feeds together. And, I think there is, and this, I don't think this, obviously with the stuff that happened at Ubisoft, last year and is ongoing, I don't think this is, alone or, only particularly at Activision. I don't think this is only a big company thing. I'm sure this happens at a lot of small teams too. And I think there is, you're never going to be able to 100% stamp out cases like this, unfortunately, but I think there is a surefire thing you can do to make sure that, this isn't something that, a walkout is good, but this is not something that you solve with a one-day walkout. This is something you begin to change by, to be frank, taking power of your workplace and demanding that the people in charge make changes, or forcing them to do it by any means necessary that they don't like.
If I could bounce off of that,
yes.
With you for just a moment, like the types of changes that would have to happen at Activision Blizzard, and I want to be clear, like Mike included, when us and the other guys get bored or we have some free time, we have played Activision games. Like, not me anymore. I've just uninstalled the Blizzard launcher from my PC. I'm fucking like, remember when like they fired all those people? What was it? They reported like record profits, but then cut off 10% of their workforce back in 2019, and then they released Sekiro. I'm like, I'm gonna wait a minute to buy Sekiro. I gladly waited the 1 year to buy Sekiro, loved it, played it, but this is not going to stop. So the changes that need to happen, and first of all, need to come from the populace. I know that some people will say like a protest, a financial protest don't work. Well, that's because they've never really been given a hard try. I know that that is just. I heard this somewhere, I forget where, but this is not like mentally possible for some people because some people, that is the only way they speak with others is they play, and this is not an insult to anyone, by the way. I want to make that very clear. They log online after a hard day of work. They meet with their friends in Azeroth playing World of Warcraft, and they just do some fun raids or missions or guild stuff, what have you. I get that, but we can't keep rewarding these horrible cultural things. And the changes that need to come down have to not only come from the populace, they have to come from the government. Like, the lawsuit has just started for the state of California. If the state of California is successful, Activision Blizzard is going to have to pay a bunch of, like, if you read what the things are going to be needed to do to make the lawsuit settled, is like they're going to have to start paying back people that were lost in money. Their shareholders have started filing or start looking to see if they violated the Securities Exchange Act because it's impacting trade in the public space. There are companies, I'm shout out to 3 of them, The Gamer, Game Explained, and Prima Games, these 3 websites that cover games. They said, yeah, we're just not covering your games anymore until you've actually shown that you're going to change your workplace culture. These people that have been at the top levels, just remove them all. Like, everyone that like was at the top that stopped this, just get them out of there.
I know we were kind of, I feel like we were kind of brief on some of these specific allegations, but there is, I mean, it's a laundry list of things. Like, it's
where do you start?
Things
right?
that are just like not only like excluding any like, true like like some of the, even like just like the true harassment and like as you mentioned, the one case where a woman was driven to like take her own life because of harassment she experienced at the company on a work trip, which is an insane thing to say. I mean, even it's just as simple as like employees of color having to submit like essays for why they have to take time off when people who were white and men did not have to, which is just like, that is just square. That
a black woman, to submit for her 1 week of PTO, had to submit a 1-page essay explaining to her white manager why that PTO should be approved. Holy shit! That is demeaning in a way I can't describe, because I get, as the lawsuit is claiming, no one else in the company has ever had to do that. What the free fuck? Why should you have PTO? In case you guys don't know, is part of your compensation package. You don't get to ask me how I'm going to spend my money. You also don't get to ask me what I'm going to do on my day off. That's not your business, right? If I'm going to sit down and eat chips the whole day while petting my dog, that's me. You get to pay me to do that. Congratulations.
Great success.
Great success.
Yeah, I mean, even just stuff like that, it's just not. It's just somewhat. I don't know what to say. It's like, how did no one think that? It's just. I mean, I know how no one knew that there was a problem with this. Obviously, like we all know why. That's why we're here and talking about this, because that's what a culture like this does. Is it makes excuses for things like this, and just when that person, leaves the company for one reason or another, it's like, oh, they weren't part of the family. They don't get it. They don't get what it's like to be Blizzard, And I said
they didn't have the Blizzard culture.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I think this
gross
is
in retrospect.
Yeah, it's yeah, there's like a lot of undercurrent. I think a lot of the things that happen here, I think, translate to a lot of different workplaces across this country. I don't think, I'm not saying every company has a insane culture like this, but I think there's a lot of lean on, hey, we're a family here, and family takes care of each other, and family doesn't make a fuss when something's wrong, because you don't want to. We're all family here, so it's like that. There's very much a culture in our workplaces to not rock the boat on some of that stuff, and
I want to
it's a
bounce off of
relationship that
mind.
needs to be changed by the people who work there and industries as a whole.
The Activision Blizzard executive Fran Townsend. Now, everyone listening to this doesn't know who that is.
We got to talk about that too.
Yeah, this person
my
used to
God.
be the Homeland Security Advisor for George W. Bush. Already, that's not just one red flag. That is the factory of red flags. People.
That is the reddest. That's like the red flag. That's like a flag the size of like the ones that they use at the Super Bowl. That's how big that red flag is.
A Category 5 hurricane ripped through a factory that only makes red flags, and now it's just made of red flags.
Just like the entire eastern seaboard, just littered with red flags.
So for context, she just joined the company in March of 2021. At the recording of this podcast, that was 4 months ago. She writes this email telling all employees that this is not the culture of Blizzard. First of all, you don't know that. You just passed the 90 days.
And also, yes, it is. That's why you're being sued. God. Okay. Brief sidebar. It's like when something bad happens in this country, and they're like, "This isn't what America is." This isn't what we are. It's like, no, this is exactly who we are. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
this is that's why it happened here. It's because this is exactly what we are.
The history
Don't
books
lie to
speak
yourself.
very differently.
I'm sorry.
What's gotten Fran Townsend in a lot of trouble is she in black and white. Hold on, I gotta back up because I gotta go into not a lawyer Ray mode.
In the beginning.
Why did you send this as a piece of documentation before discovery happens? Because what she just typed in this email will probably be used in the case against them. She said that this lawsuit was meritless and irresponsible, and she wishes that the state would have worked with the company of Activision Blizzard to come to a resolution before coming to a lawsuit. And it's like, do you not understand what it means for the 6th largest economy in the world to sue you? Do you not realize the ramifications of that? They have enough evidence that they decided there's no more reconciliation that can be done. And you guys need taught a lesson.
It's something that they've tried to. I think I remember reading that, California will, before they sue you, will try to mediate some of these things. And help you not get sued. And when they really try to do you a favor, and if you don't do that, that's just on you.
They probably found so much that there's where do you start?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel just reading. It's public knowledge for anyone that wants to read it, and there's no use in us spending the next probably 2 hours talking about what's in the actual lawsuit.
Yeah.
But if you actually do sit down and read it, and I'll link it in the podcast notes. There is a question of you ask of where do you even begin to change this company? Because the rot is so deeply set in. You have people. Okay, one of the things we didn't talk about. The cube crawls, where upper management would get rip snorting drunk and would crawl on all 4 legs and go through the cubicles of the office and start hitting on female employees or making sexual passes on them or groping them. When the rot is that deep, you just burn it down. At that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's just one, a headline from today. Blizzard recruiters asked hacker at a job fair if she likes being penetrated. Like, just what do you even say to that? It is just
Why? Where's the HR? Do they have an HR? Is the HR just like?
it's
I don't know, man. I've worked with really good HR in the gaming industry, like people I really trust, and that's what I feel like you have to have. But if you don't have that, holy shit, that just feels like hell.
yeah.
Right?
Well, this is what happens when, the reason all of this is only coming out because they're getting sued is what happens when HR functions as it's supposed to, which is to shield the company from legal liability. And if that means figuratively, maybe literally, we'll see, crushing someone into dust to make sure they shut up and go away and are not a problem anymore, then they'll do it.
Yeah.
And so this will certainly be an ongoing story as this case makes its way eventually into court, or maybe it's not. Maybe it gets settled. Who's to say? I would not be surprised if they settle and just pony up a crap ton of money. But like you said, Ray, like, how do you even begin to change this? And
How do
I
you
think,
get new employees?
like, I think I kind of, like I alluded to earlier, I think the only way you can a culture of a frat boy, like, harassment culture pervades, like, that leaks from a culture that allows other kinds of exploitation in the workplace. And I think the only way you can at least begin to try and maybe create something that isn't as susceptible to that is to, I'm going to be coy here, alter the power structure of your company. And I would just want some people, the listeners at home can put two and two together and,
I think they're picking up what
figure
you're
out
throwing down.
and pick up what I'm putting down here. How about that?
Yeah, I think so. I feel bad for everyone that is at Activision Blizzard, because there are some people that genuinely they care about the product that they're making, they care about the artistry of the games that they're making, or some of them just, like, being very honest, some of them are like, well, now what? I don't want to be here anymore, but what next?
Yeah, but I also need to, like,
pay bills.
have health insurance.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel for that, because that feels like if those people that want to leave that can't, that feels like you're trapped.
Yeah.
So oh man, I can't imagine what it's like. Yeah, I just had this, like, thought of, like, just sitting down at, like, your desk every day, and you open up news, and the way you find out how just truly fucked your company is Jason Schreier wrote another article about you guys the next day, and it's like, Jesus, does this stop? How deep does this shithole go? And yeah, I empathize with that a lot. I hope it gets better for you guys. I really do. I think that walkout was powerful. I'm glad the management at Blizzard let them have that walkout with paid days off, so that they can not have to worry about missing the days or whatnot. I think some contractors didn't get the paid day off because contractors, but
Of course.
you do what you have to do, I guess. I wanted to get better for those guys, or destroy it. I don't know. I don't know what the actual answer is. I don't want people to be out of a job. This can't continue.
I'm just spitballing here, like, I just would think it would be interesting to see what happened if a critical mass number of people who were working on hotly anticipated titles maybe slowed down work for a little bit, or maybe even stopped.
There are people.
Workers have power to do things, and if enough people, apes together strong. is a way to put it. It's not very eloquent, honestly, but again, like it's just that is what that is how people can begin to maybe change this or do something.
You are correct.
So
I
don't know. I'm
glad you said
spitballing
that.
here. Just, you know.
No. The network architect lead for Blizzard said that we are done working on World of Warcraft until something happens or until later notice. And you know what? That's powerful. That's like good stuff. Because what if, like, you try to log into a WoW server? What if you're like someone that's like one of those? I don't know how to describe these guys. These red pill grifters are like, man, fuck all this. They're just people that are complaining. Let me go ahead and actually spend more money on World of Warcraft right now, and you can't get in because the people that are doing the work, they're like, fuck that, fuck this. Shit needs to change. And you're like, oh, the SJWs won't fix this for us. It's like, no, you're right, Mike. Speak to power. If you can get away with that, I don't know, man.
Just,
slow down a little
it's
bit.
an interesting question. I don't know.
It's a good question.
I'm thinking. I'm just. That's all I'm saying.
I like that. I'm just asking questions.
I'm just asking questions for a movie that my friend is writing. Parody. It's a parody film. Parody.
Is it the new campaign for Warzone, which will have to be done by a different company now, I guess?
Yeah, PUBG. This is PUBG headquarters. Like, all right, boys, it's our time to shine again. We're coming back.
Oh man, okay, this is a shitty thing to say, but I'm gonna say it anyways. What a boost for Battlefield coming up here soon for people that are like, but I still wanna, shoot my guns. What other game? EA.
Now you know when I said that,
nothing.
like, you know that Activision is probably not the only company that has a problem like this. I'm gonna go ahead and bet that EA might be the other company that has some sort of problem like this. So
I would agree.
At
with
time
you
of
that Ubisoft
recording,
is...
this is alleged, but who knows?
I would say EA is shitty for a lot of things. I don't know if they're shitty for that. Like Ubisoft is. Activision Blizzard is. I don't know about EA.
Yeah.
Because the workers I've talked to at EA say like they actually do believe in the diversity of their culture because they just don't want to deal with it otherwise. They don't want this to happen. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's reassuring.
Maybe.
So again, this is alleged. It's alleged.
Parody.
Yeah. Besides, EA is shitty for not making Titanfall 3. That's why EA sucks. Never forget that.
Okay. Yeah. That's. You're not wrong. All right.
I never am. Name one time I've been wrong.
We should wrap up the podcast.
We should. That's right. Ray, where can people find us?
Oh, yeah. You could go to our website on unscriptedgaming.com. You could go to our YouTube channel. You go to type in Unscripted Gaming 2.0. Boom, we're going to pop up right there. You can follow us on our Twitter. You know what? I'm going to be honest. That's the shitpost account I used. So if you want to go ahead and see what kind of bullshit I am personally posting, go to Unscripted Gaming on Twitter.
Yeah, go to unscript_gaming on Twitter. Go to the profile, click the likes tab before Ray can remove anything that's in there. Just see what he's been liking at 2 a.m. on Twitter.
It's true.
It's a great time.
I like some ratchet stuff. Not too ratchet, but oh my god, why does JonTron still show up on my feed? Fuck JonTron! And you should also, when you listen to our podcast, which you could get anywhere, and I hope you got it from any of your normal podcatcher apps, but we're available most other places as well. Please do go ahead and give us a rating. We appreciate those. Unless your rating is 1 star. Please don't give us that
If your rating is 1 through 4 stars, shut the fuck up. If your rating is 5 stars, please leave it. How about that?
Come on in. But thank you very much for joining us.
If your rating is 1 through 4, instead, you should send that an email to Josh. His email address is the following. I'm just kidding. Yeah, my name is Mike.
My name is Ray.
This has been Unscripted Gaming. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Welcome to Unscripted.